everyone. Chef Rob Stinson from Fit to Eat with another healthy meat and potatoes episode. We're also cooking up Brussels sprouts. I know what you're thinking. Gross, Brussels sprouts? But give them a chance. You'll be surprised how delicious and healthy they are. We'll take a quick break and then we'll get started. Welcome back. In moderation, red meat can be a part of a healthy diet. Red meat is full of protein and minerals. It is important, though, to remember that a proper portion size should be about 3 to 4 ounces. Now, those of you that are used to eating a large steak are going to say, wait a minute, that's just not what I'm normally, going to eat. But what we've got here, as you look down on this board, is a 4-ounce cut, okay? And I cut this out of the strip loin. So it's a leaner piece of beef by nature. Okay, you can see, really simple, and you can actually, through the course of this meal, actually get filled up on what's going along with it. I know people have said, wait a minute, Brussels sprouts? Oh my gosh. But I love this. Now, we're going to put a little unique touch on this, and we're going to season this with some garlic powder. Okay, and we're going to just sprinkle it on one side and then turn it over and get the other. This is the fun one. Actually ground fine coffee. And this is some good Mississippi roasted coffee, I swear. And then a little cracked pepper. Now, obviously, you can do that manually. I've taken the time to already grate some of that, and I like to sprinkle that on by hand. Try and get it over on the edges. And then you can take a fork and kind of push it all down into the meat a little bit to make a crust. All right? Now all we do is turn it over and do it exactly the same again. Really want both sides of this to have the same flavoring. That coffee. I love putting that flavor of coffee with beef. It's a really wonderful thing. Gives it a kind of a richness, if you would. And then again, let's do our coarse ground black pepper. That looks good. That looks good. So let's kind of pat that down again, as we said. Make sure everything is mixed in. And here's the kind of challenging part. It depends on your taste. We're going to sear this in a pan. Take that pan, spray it with a little of our pan coating, which is 0 fat. And I'm going to turn the heat up on high. I like my steaks on the rare side. Everybody's a little different. If you don't care for your steaks that rare, then I would turn the heat down and know that way you're not going to sear the edge too much at the very beginning. Again, really up to you. We'll do this one a little bit on the rare side, probably close to medium. It's a thin piece of beef too, so you got to keep that in mind when you're eating the proper portion size. You don't have a large cut of beef and it won't be that thick. You can see that, kind of thin. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in our pan. And while that is cooking, we're going to actually kind of go, and listen, what I wanted to also say, I'm saving the plate that this steak was cooked on because I'm going to use the same pan to make the sauce that is going to go on this. And, I love fresh berries. They're a great natural sweetener for oatmeal. They add color and flavor to salads. You can add them to yogurt. They're delicious and versatile. Today we're using blueberries. And, I'm going to move those right in the center, but our blueberries have the highest antioxidant capacity of all fresh fruit. All those antioxidants help build up your immune system. Blueberries can also help improve your vision and help in the fight against heart disease. So lots of great reasons to use blueberries. All right, we've got a couple other neat ingredients in this tarragon, which I'm going to show you how to clean that off the stem in a few minutes. We've got a little beef stock. We're going to actually take a little bit of apple and use an apple sauce to help make the sauce a little rich, a little red wine, and then just to make sure it has enough sweetness, a sugar substitute. Whichever one you care for works. All right, now, the steak is searing well on the side. We're going to cook it right now about half the temperature I want it. I'm going to turn it. And you can see what a great searing it's got around the edge where that fat on that loin is. And realize now, this is an easy piece of beef to eat. If you don't want to eat that fat, obviously, we're trying to keep this as healthy as possible. It's very simple to trim it off. It's a nice small portion. And when we're finished with the steak, I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it on a bias. And by doing that, it'll help tenderize the beef as well. Fan it out. It looks great. It's easy to eat that way. So this will actually have a great presentation when it's done. And remember, you eat with your eyes as much as your taste buds. We want this to have the appearance of being something really special that'll make up for the fact that we're working on our portion size. So delicious, delicious steak. Now, we don't need to cook this too much more, so we're going to go ahead and let that steak rest on the side. And while it rests, it actually will allow the juice to go back into the beef so that you won't end up having all the juice, as soon as we slice it, come out of the meat. Let your beef rest before you slice it. Good rule to follow. Okay, pan is a little hot on the other side, so I'm going to turn that heat down. But we want to deglaze and get that flavor of the beef. So we hit about half of our wine first. Then a little bit of our stock. All right. Throw our blueberries in. Little guys are diving in there. Now at this point, you just want to let them kind of naturally cook. Going to add back in, now that the pan is cooled, a little bit more of our stock. And I know everybody probably heard me say, what are you doing with applesauce? We are actually putting the applesauce into this mixture with our berries. And at this point, I want to stir it all throughout. Keep moving those berries. Kind of push down on the berries themselves because they're going to allow the juice that's inside to get into this sauce. A little bit more. Add the remainder of our wine. And everybody's thinking, well, I don't like alcohol. The alcohol will cook out on this dish. So don't be scared of that. Now we're going to add about a tablespoon of our sugar substitute just to add a natural sweetness. And then we're going to allow these berries to cook. Now let's turn that heat back up. We're going to add in, I keep a little water on the side. This is just simple water. And all that'll do is help hydrate those berries. Remember, when you're making sauces at home, if it seems like it's gotten a little bit too thin or you don't like the consistency at that point, you can always add a little bit of water just to bring it all back to life and deglaze that pan. And now you can see those berries are starting to mash. I get a great aroma from it too, that beef stock. So now we're going to go to our tarragon. Tarragon is an incredibly flavorful herb, and I like to use it. It adds a little flavor of licorice. We're going to make about a tablespoon of fresh diced tarragon here. It's added at the end of the sauce. You don't need to cook that as thoroughly as you do everything else. Just a coarse chop. Gonna throw that in, stir it into the sauce well. And it immediately gives it a wonderful aroma. Gonna turn that heat down a little bit. And now, before we go to a quick break, I'm going to add that beef back into the sauce so it coats it. And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to make potato crisps and Brussels sprouts. They're going to be delicious. I swear you're going to like them. Stay with us. Be right back.
Ag Ventures is an opportunity for fourth graders in the local area to come and have an adventure in agriculture, to learn about where their clothing and food comes from, and just have a great time being here at the Mississippi Ag and Forestry Museum. We'll have 5 educational stations, which include livestock. They'll actually get to see chickens, horses, cows, rabbits.
You see the down on them? That's fluffy. Where do you find down? Where else do we find down? Think about something in your house. Pillow? That's right, pillows. You found down feathers in a pillow. That's why those pillows are so soft.
And then we also have forestry and wildlife exhibit on the nature trail.
She'll start producing milk.
We hope that they learn something, obviously something that they didn't know, that they know where the cream comes from that makes their butter, that they know a little bit more about caring for livestock, the importance of that, as well as you know, composting and maybe growing that vegetable garden in their backyard, the importance of just agriculture in general.
All right, and we also have popcorn. Is everybody familiar with popcorn? Yeah! Y'all know how popcorn works?
Yeah, put it in the microwave and pop.
There's less family farms in the state of Mississippi, but agriculture is so important to our economy, and so we just feel it's important to try to at least keep that appreciation for our Mississippi farmer out there.
Welcome back. We're going to start with the potatoes right now. You know, potatoes are much misunderstood as far as health. The biggest problem with potatoes is what we or you put on them. You're going to see today a way to flavor them where they're tasty and we're not loading them full of butter and sour cream. I mean, the two enemies, and then let's face facts, oftentimes we'll throw bacon in there and cheese in there. And when you add all that into the potato, it absolutely is not healthy. So, great trick here. Slicing this, we're going to take the end off and then cutting them about 1/4 inch in thickness. Nice fresh potato. And what we're going to do, I call them potato crisps. So you got so much flavor going on them. Okay, now these are going to actually go into the oven, and we're going to put them onto a baking sheet, and we're going to spray that baking sheet with a little of our pan coating. Why? 2 reasons. So they don't stick, obviously, but they'll also crisp up more this way. So let's slide this forward, move them around, because we're going to actually season these right on the pan. You know, I want to let that meat rest that we put back in the sauce. I've got a plate here. When we're putting it back, now that it's been completely cooked, put it on a nice fresh plate. And then we're going to keep our sauce in the pan ready for the end of the meal. Okay, seasoning. We're going to take a small bowl here. We're going to mix in some garlic powder, onion powder, white pepper, black pepper. I've got a little diced parsley, kind of coarse chopped, kind of fun. We can move that up here and get a close-up of this because the next ingredient is our basil. Now, I'm going to put some of this basil out just to show you what beautiful chiffonade it's called. Just little thin sliced basil looks like. And let's talk about basil. We're using basil today, but basil is a great healthy herb. Basil has anti-inflammatory properties, which means basil can provide some relief from such problems as rheumatoid arthritis and inflammatory bowel conditions. Basil also has strong antibacterial properties and has even been shown to fight bacteria that have grown resistant to other antibiotics. So really, really great flavoring. And I just love basil in general. So I've got some fine chopped basil. We're going to take and just mix this very quickly. And you'll notice some of the seasoning will go right onto the herbs. Then we're going to kind of sparingly put, well, actually, you know what we need to do? First of all, let's spray the top of the potatoes. It's going to help them crisp. It'll be the glue that'll actually hold all this seasoning to the potatoes, too. And let's go through here. And I tell you, makes it nice when you are baking these and they are thin because they will cook so much quicker. And that's the idea of this. We know everybody's in a hurry today, so it adds to your day if your cooking goes quicker. When we go to plate these, we don't really need the seasoning on both sides. There we go. Not too hard at all, huh? One last little spray. And that's it. All right, let's go to the oven. I've got the oven turned on to 400 degrees. Okay. Well, I know you don't want to hear this, but let's talk about Brussels sprouts. No, they're not gross. If you cook them properly and flavor them right, they're delicious. Brussels sprouts can lower your cholesterol. Brussels sprouts are also one of those great veggies. Let's put some out here in front where we can have a little fun. They're one of those great veggies that help prevent cancer. Brussels sprouts are also good for the heart, good for digestion, and have anti-inflammatory properties. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, all right. He's talking about Brussels sprouts and all the good stuff, but I've eaten them and I don't care for them. I suggest you haven't had them cooked the way I'm going to cook them today. All right, let's put these on the board, the ones I'm actually going to use, about a half a cup here. We're going to slice these in half. And you're going to see Brussels sprout looks just like a small cabbage. So what's true with cabbage? Cabbage, when it's cooked down for many, many hours, oftentimes in German preparations, they call sauerkraut. And people know, well, sauerkraut has a very pungent flavor. I don't know of a lot of people who really care for that flavor. So searing these Brussels sprouts, leaving them crispy, gives such a different flavor to them, you won't believe it. Now we're going to take, and I've got a warm saute pan here, spray it with our pan coating, and put our Brussels sprouts right into the pan. We're going to throw in there about a tablespoon of our chopped onion, tablespoon of diced red bell pepper, and about a teaspoon of our garlic. Now a little black pepper. There we go. Let's do a little housekeeping here. Move some of this out of our way for us. And let's toss that while it's in the pan. You can see, pan is good and hot, and those Brussels sprouts are searing. What I'm going to do, take the time to individually put them on the face of the open side of the Brussels sprout. And I told you earlier, I keep a little water. What do we do with this? We can deglaze this. It'll start steaming those Brussels sprouts, and it'll also drop the temperature of that pan a little bit. Sliding them around like that, just a great aroma. Now, I'm gonna come back over here and actually fine chop a little bacon, all right? I've cooked it very crispy. We're going to chop it, about a half a piece of bacon. And again, pork is a wonderful, great item to use in cooking in moderation. You gotta use it in moderation. We're gonna throw that right into the pan. And now here comes your matter of taste. I'm gonna put just the slightest pinch, not even an eighth of a teaspoon of crushed red pepper in with those Brussels sprouts. We're gonna go ahead and a little more water in there to deglaze that pan. Oh yeah, it actually has got such an incredible flavor and aroma. Now, here on the other side, where we're gonna go is finish a little mixture with cream cheese and green onions that we're going to use on those potatoes. We're gonna mix that fat-free cream cheese. You're probably wondering, cream cheese? I thought he just said we can't have the good stuff. Fat-free. Gonna mix it thoroughly. Gonna go do one last check now. Let's go check our oven. See how our potatoes are doing here. They're cooking great. They've got a couple more minutes, but they look wonderful. So at this point, we're gonna let those cook. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get back and we'll talk about all the nutritional information for this dish. And remember, join us on Facebook at facebook.com/MPB50Eat and let us know how much you love eating your veggies, especially Brussels sprouts. Come right back. Welcome back. Let's break down this dish nutritionally. 559 calories, 40 grams of carbs, 23 grams of protein, 23 grams of fat, and 7 grams of fiber. Now, I said we wanted to let that meat rest. We have. We're going to take it, put it directly on the cutting board at this point, and I told you I was going to cut it on a bias. I want to show you how simple that is. Something all of you can do. And as I cut it this way, you're going to see when we put this onto the plate, it has just a great look. Now, let's fan this. Beautiful medium rare, if I do say so myself. Pull that last little piece off right here. Much easier with the knife and the tongs. Beautiful looking beef though. All right. And let's take it, just give a quick wipe so we can move that plate in front. Going to put our beautiful Brussels sprouts right on the side here. Leaving room for our potatoes. I'm going to go grab those. Our blueberry sauce. And easiest way, let's see if I can do this so you can see it. Want to get it on each piece of beef. Let's grab the potatoes, which smell incredible. Set those on the side. All right, now, remember, we've had a lot of fun. We put this last little bit of our cream cheese right there on the plate. We've had a lot of fun making this dish, and I'm going to have a lot of fun eating it in a minute. But remember, red meat can be a part of a healthy lifestyle if you control your portions. Join us on Facebook and share your healthy red meat recipes, but only after you finish your Brussels sprouts. Just kidding. See you soon.